Welcome to the Gaming Trend Podcast, the official podcast of GamingTrend.com. My name is Anthony Shelton, and tonight I am joined by our Twitch star, Adam Moreno. In this podcast, we talk about the latest games we could get our hands on, games that are backlogged we should have played a long time ago, and games you must play. This week, I'm not going to lie, I'm feeling a little negative. I don't want to. Yeah, man. But the stuff we have to talk about today, it doesn't make me want to say nice things, okay?
I've got positive things to say. It's all fine.
Great. So here's what we're going to do. Microsoft had their presentation, so we're going to talk about that. And then we'll talk about Forspoken. And then to end things on a high note, Adam, you're going to tell us about Fire Emblem Engage, because, man, I just got that in Gamefly too, and I am ready to play it. I just need to finish some of these other games first. So, with that said, let's start with the Xbox Bethesda Developer Direct. First time Microsoft has done something like this. Very state of play, very Nintendo Direct feeling. 30 minutes, gone, stuff. How did you feel about it?
The actual event itself didn't care all that much. It did seem like a Nintendo Direct where it was just like, here are the things happening now, where like, let's showcase. What I did love about all of it, when I logged into my Xbox today, it gave me a list of games that they announced, games that I can download now, and games that I can pre-download. And I just went and I was just like, oh, well, that looks cool. I saw that yesterday. I'll click on that. And I just started downloading games. It was the most efficient way of showcasing what they have going on and what's coming up. That was the best part of the showcase, in my opinion, was the after the showcase, what they did for follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely. That was... Efficient is a great word. To have something drop the day of.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And they showed it to us. We didn't have to go and look for it.
No. The criticism has been on Microsoft. Y'all ain't releasing nothing. So they went to Tango and was like, yo, can y'all like release this for us? Like the day we do
Anything.
Boom.
We're here cheering for you. We want you to succeed.
Right. Exactly. Like,
take our money.
We not out here console warring. Like, I want Sony to succeed. I want Nintendo to succeed. I want Xbox to succeed. So, and Hi-Fi doesn't even look bad. So I haven't played it yet, but it looks all right. I want to try it. Yeah.
Whether I play it or not yet, but it's downloaded.
I'm gonna play it after I'm done with a few other games, but I mean, it looks decent enough to be like, hey, there's this new thing we're doing. Boom.
I also pre-downloaded Atomic Heart.
You did that?
Yeah, I pre-downloaded it. It comes out in February, like mid-February.
Yeah,
but they had it there, and I'm gonna forget about it otherwise.
Yeah, that's true. So, and I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah. But I got some stuff to say. For sure. Yeah. What was your favorite? What did you like most about it?
I'm going to be honest. When it came to the games, none of them are games that I'm like, I have to play it. They're all games. Yeah. It's one of those things. Like I have a very specific grouping of games that I play and types of games that I play. And
do any of them have to do with Star Wars? I'm just curious.
I would love if any of them have to do with Star Wars. Send them my way. Like Xbox, I'm begging you. Make a big move. Make a bold move. Bring me back Republic Commando. Style of Halo. Microsoft, make it happen. But yeah, it was one of those things that I was watching it while I was playing other things because I didn't remember that it was happening. And then all of a sudden, like, I get all the alerts from YouTube, from my Xbox, from, Gaming Trends Discord saying, like, it's happening now. And I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of playing other things, but I'll watch it. And nothing was like, I have to get this now. But everything was like, oh, that's going to be enjoyable when I get around to it.
They only showed what, 4 games?
3 games? Something like
3?
that.
Minecraft Legends, Hi-Fi
Yeah.
Rush, Redfall, and Forza 4.
Didn't they like sneak peek something at the end? I don't remember.
No. Well, if they did. So I watched it from GameSpot's stream.
Gotcha.
And they
cut to
they cut to something else. So
yeah.
maybe there was,
it just continued on, and I ended up at a weird extra trailer.
Well, no, because here I'll just play as it goes as we talk. But like this is like the official like boom, cut off, nothing extra after. So
there's Minecraft Legends.
I don't know if there was something dropped afterwards. I don't know. I missed that.
It's fine.
And if there was, apparently it wasn't big enough because I haven't seen any news about it either.
It wasn't important enough to actually talk about.
So there we go.
I guess Minecraft Legends is the closest that I got to like being excited because it looked different. But I didn't play any of the other Minecraft side stories, so like I didn't know of anything about it. But it looked interesting. I liked the idea that it was kind of this weird like on its own thing where it was just like we used Minecraft, but it's not Minecraft.
Yeah. Well, I do not like Minecraft. It's not that it's a bad game. It's just not my bag. I'm not one to drop into a place and be like, hey, do whatever you want. I need structure.
You want a goal.
Yeah. Yes, I am a task list crossover. I need that. And Minecraft is terrible at that.
It does not have that.
No. But then Minecraft Dungeons came out, and I love that. Minecraft Dungeons is fantastic.
Objectives.
Yes. But I mean, it's also a looter in the form of Diablo. So, but even though it's Minecraft and it's fairly simplified, I still thoroughly enjoy it. So the fact of Minecraft Legends, Minecraft Universe, I like Minecraft Dungeons. Yeah, I'm interested. I want to try it. It's this strategy game. I guess it's an action game, strategy. But the fact that there's so many players you could play with and strategize with, that seems like it's going to be a lot of fun as a co-op game.
Yeah.
And then it incorporates different Minecraft elements. Like, when you're building a base, for example, you can almost do whatever you want, which is very Minecraft. So as long as you got the resources, people could go grab resources, people could go fight, people can build. That is very Minecrafty. Go do what you do. Whatever you like to do, go do it. And also PvP at the same time. So PvP and PvE. I love the concept.
PvE, multiple characters. It's people are gonna like it.
Yeah, I think so. That and Forza. That was pretty much it for me in terms of what I was interested in. I was interested in Redfall until I saw this. And I was like, I'll play it. I'll probably have fun with it, but it's pretty generic overall. It's not what I would expect from Arcane. So
yeah.
Okay, so here's my overall thoughts on this thing.
Okay, give it to me.
What I found interesting about this is that what I felt underwhelmed after I watched it. I felt unsatisfied. I was happy to see some more Minecraft Legends. I was happy to see Forza. It was exciting to know Hi-Fi Rush came out day of and I could play it. That's all cool. And Redfall, little not what I expected it to be, but or it may not expected, but I want more from it, and it doesn't look like I'm going to get that. So I left unsatisfied because at the end of the day, what I wanted was a roadmap. Because we don't know what Microsoft is doing after this. So it's like, okay, you showed us Redfall, you gave us a date. You showed us Minecraft Legends, you gave us a date. You had Hi-Fi Rush, it's out. Hey. But then you got Forza Motorsport 2023. Wait, why ain't you got a date? Why is it the only thing that you showed and it ain't got a date? Because they just want you to know, hey, we're still working on this thing. I mean, my goodness, right there in the video, they're talking about the point of the video is telling you how we're making this. Like this is what we're doing with Forza Motorsport. Yeah, that kind of sounds like y'all really ain't got that much to show, and you really don't know when this thing is coming out. So we're right along with Microsoft. I don't even think they know when these things are coming out. And I don't know if that's because they are allowing the developers to have the leeway to stretch things if they need to, or if it's because, as we have really found out with 343 and all these layoffs and stuff, Microsoft is just a little too loose.
Yeah.
And I am erring on the side that Microsoft is a little too loose.
Yeah. That's the way it seems to me. It seems like they have, like, here's what's coming out, and then they go, oh, that's not done yet? Oh, we thought that it was, but didn't you? Okay, we'll just tell them that we're working on it, and when you get closer, you tell us and we'll make a big deal of it.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I'm sitting here going like, cool. It's one of those things for me personally. I was never good at these games. The closest I got was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. And like, I like watching these games. I like the community that plays this game. But it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't have high expectations. So when they didn't give a date, or they like, there are some of these games that I'm just like, okay, if I don't have high expectations, I'm not really going to care when it comes out. When it comes out, I'll care about it. So like stuff like this, where it's just like, I don't need to care about this. I don't have to. Like, it, for all intents and purposes, it doesn't exist yet.
And this is true. I look at it and it looks beautiful. Like this, it looks ready. It sure does look ready to me.
Clearly something's not ready.
Right. So,
and it's something that we don't know.
And we probably won't know until maybe never. So I look at this and go, okay, why did you guys put this in there? Well, one of the things I said last podcast was, I wonder if something's going on with Turn 10 because we haven't heard from Forza in a long time with all these layoffs and stuff and all this upheaval. Hey, is Turn 10 okay? Okay, I guess Turn 10's fine, but apparently not fine enough to where we can get a date for something that you showed alongside everything else that had a date, and one of them came out. So I don't know what we're doing here. I think, to your point, it just feels like, hey, Microsoft, we're ready. You guys ready? Okay, we'll have something in the next. We'll have something together next week. Oh, okay, fantastic. Like, no, that's what it feels like. I'm not saying that's what it is. I know that's not what you're saying, but that is certainly what it feels like. Here's the thing, too. Microsoft's fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th. All right. So in January, we got something. Hi-Fi Rush. Great. February and March, we ain't got nothing at the end of quarter 3. And then to start Q4, we got Minecraft Legends, April 18th. And then we have Redfall, May 2nd. Great. What's going to happen after that? As soon as this ended, they should have announced, here's the Starfall presentation. Because we know they said they're going to do that. But as soon as this ended, there should have been a tweet out or something, press release, to let us know, hey, the Starfall thing is coming. Because we still want to know what's coming. This is Microsoft's biggest critique right now. Y'all ain't got no games. All right, you showed us some, and you showed us some when they're coming out, and you don't know when. But the other stuff, can we get that? Can we get the full roadmap of this? They ain't got the problem that PlayStation and Nintendo has. They got different issues. Microsoft, where's your stuff? I feel like they're not good at reading the room right now.
No, I think a lot of that has to do with just like the disconnect between whoever the main people are and their fan base. because it seems like they're making active choices to do things that the fan base and like the community in general are like, we don't care about that. Like we don't need you to say that. We need you to say, because I was it yet last year that they were like, well, we're thinking about buying these other companies and like to produce their games. And I'm just like, you're not putting out things now on the groups that you do have.
Yep.
Why are you thinking about buying more? And it seems like it's an arms race. Instead, like I don't think Sony and Nintendo are treating this like an arms race. They're treating this as in, what can we do to provide IPs that are popular and yet like original. Meanwhile, Microsoft's just treating this like an arms race of like, well, we need that, 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 and all of them are Xbox exclusive. Meanwhile, Nintendo's like, well, we just released Fire Emblem, and that's the biggest game we've had since Pokemon. And everybody really loves us right now.
Which was like, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. And so like it's not like Sony or Nintendo, I almost said Pokemon. Sony or Nintendo are struggling with putting out content. It seems like this is just a Microsoft problem.
And it always has been.
Yeah.
This has always been Microsoft's issue. What I've realized is Microsoft is very good at services. They're not good at software, Windows being the exception. And I guess Microsoft Office in some regard. Otherwise, Microsoft 365, what is that? A service. Windows kind of acts like a service now in some ways. You have and now Game Pass. What all of a sudden that they come up with that idea and it's a service and it's working. Microsoft has never had this software thing down. Skype sucked. That was a thing for a little bit. Now it's not. Doesn't need to be.
Skype in high school.
Yeah. Don't need it anymore.
It's been years.
It's still on computers when you download and put in Windows. You don't need it. OneDrive, it's okay.
I don't think I've ever
think of any other software. Huh?
I don't think I've ever used OneDrive.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever once. It boots up every time I turn on my computer. I've never used
shut that thing down. It's just a waste of resource. But they are trying to compete with Amazon and Google as well. So I know their competition extends far beyond what PlayStation and Nintendo are doing. However, you are Xbox.
You're supposed to be a gaming company.
Yes. And it's fine. I get it. You're under Microsoft. And so you need to incorporate some of Microsoft's identity inside of it. I get it. I don't have a problem with that. But you're still games. And you need to have the games. And so what they're doing now is, okay, we're just going to absorb a bunch of people who can make games because we aren't good at it. And we never have been good at it. Don't forget, Halo, that wasn't developed originally just within Microsoft. Like that wasn't Microsoft's idea. And Bungie came to them and was like, yeah, no, they bought Bungie and Halo was already in development. So even that really wasn't directly from Microsoft. The stuff with the coalition that they're doing, the initiative, that stuff directly from Microsoft, not doing too hot. 343, not doing too hot. So great that we got something this time, but I want to see a roadmap. Live services, they give us roadmaps. They don't always follow it completely. It's live service. It changes. We get it. But at some point, Microsoft needs to go, this is what's happening.
We just want to be communicated with. We just want to have any type of communication as to what the future holds, because we've paid $500 for this shiny new Xbox. And honestly, the most I use my Xbox for is Madden and streaming services.
And you have a PlayStation 5, right?
I have a PS5, which I have on my desk right here. I moved the Xbox to the other room so that I could have the big TV to watch all my streaming services on. The PS5's here and I use it on a daily basis. My Switch, I use the Switch OLED on a daily basis. Xbox is just, there's nothing bringing me there unless my friends are like on a Friday night being like, hey, do you want to play Halo Reach?
Not even Infinite.
Not even Infinite. We're playing Reach still.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I use mine quite regularly, and I would, just because I prefer when Microsoft does put out games. I do prefer their games, but if I had a PlayStation 5, yeah, there's more to play on there.
There is currently more to play on the PS5 than the Xbox. And
there is an argument. What's PlayStation going to do this year? We don't really know yet, but I'm not worried. Right, because they're going to have something. When it's time to show something, they will have something.
Exactly.
And they will have at least what feels like a roadmap. Here, Forza 2023, we need a date for that. If we don't get a date for Starfield...
Don't show us the second game that we don't have a date for.
I don't even know how I would feel about that. Like, I know how I would feel. I don't know how I would react. So... Well, all right. Either way, some short thoughts on the games. Redfall, I feel to be not Arcane's best work. They said they have put their heart and soul into this game. It doesn't look like it. Not because it looks bad. It actually looks fine. It looks fine. Okay, I want to make that very clear. It looks fine. Okay?
That's beautiful. What they're going to put on the box. It looks fine. Gaming
looks
trend.
Fine. But it doesn't look unique. Like, I look at this and I go, okay, this isn't a Left 4 Dead like. We got that clear. Okay. So now I'm looking at this from like a Borderlands perspective. And I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing differently? Where is Arcane's touch here? I see it in the graphics. I see it in the stylization of everything. I don't really see it anywhere else. You have a 4-player card where you're shooting vampires, and they do a little different things, but then it's a shooter. You have action skills. You probably have some sort of skill tree. You upgrade stuff, and you move on. That's what you got for us, Arcane? No, it feels so generic. I feel like what they did with Dishonored was interesting.
That's fair.
You can incorporate some kind of that into this. Like, that's more of your identity.
Now, here's where I'll interject just for a second. I feel like this comes down once again to expectations. Me, zero expectations for this game. Had no idea about this game before, I think the last time that we saw a trailer for it. I had no expectations. Dishonored, I played the first one, never played the second one. Not like, the expectations were very low. So I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm just like, wow, this seems like somebody that had expectations for this game. It sounds like you saw this and went, okay, this is what I want. This is what I expect. And when they're not hitting those marks, you're going, well, this is kind of disappointing now, isn't it? But everything you're saying makes sense from a fan perspective. And that's what Microsoft is having to rely on, is a fan perspective. Because if you don't know what you're signing on for, you're not going to buy it. You're not going to get Game Pass to download it. You're not going to do all that kind of stuff. So if the fans are going, well, this isn't meeting expectations, and then the non-fans are going, well, it's not drawing me in, then who is this? Who are they selling this to? Because you're not interested as much as you were. I'm not interested because I never was drawn into it. Who is this going to? Like, where is this? Where is all of this coming to an end? It's going to have to, at the end of the day, this game is going to have to be amazing at launch to be able to counter just the negative reception that it's gotten so far. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Has the consensus been negative so far? I haven't looked online.
From what I've seen, and from what my friends are saying, no one's interested.
Interesting. I have not looked at anybody's
It all comes
reaction
down to
this.
2023 is full of a lot of games.
That's fair.
And at the end of the day, if you're spending $70, are you going to spend it on something you don't know all that well? If you don't have Game Pass, I've got a friend who refuses to get Game Pass. Refuses. He will never get Game Pass. So every game he buys from Xbox is the $70 game. And his thing is like, if I'm not interested, I'm not paying the $70 for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like, if you're not interested in this game after what, 4 trailers now, you're probably not going to be.
I had zero expectations for this though, because the only thing I understood was, all right, this is not a Left 4 Dead like. So they made compare, they said it was a 4-player co-op thing. They made a comparison to Borderlands. You have my ear now. But I wasn't expecting it to be so similar to other things. That is what threw me. So it's not like I went into it thinking this needs to be at the level of Borderlands and this needs to be the level of Destiny or anything like that. It was simply, what is Arcane's touch on this? I don't see.
And you couldn't see it.
I couldn't see it.
That's
from a gameplay perspective. It just felt like every other 4-player co-op-y type of thing.
I guess we'll all circle this back and say we hope this game is good.
I do. I still want it to be good.
If it's not, our expectations are now super low.
Remember, I did start my thought on Redfall with, I'm probably going to play it. Yeah. And I'm probably going to like it.
Sure.
Because it doesn't look so far outside of what I expect from a 4-player co-op first-person shooter that I wouldn't like it. It looks like I will play it and I will like it, but it doesn't look special.
Tinfoil hat situation. Let's think about this. Okay. Could this be a Sonic the Hedgehog movie situation where they go in and they just show the worst parts of the game so that everyone's expectations are super low going in? So when they play it and it's amazing, everybody's like, holy crap, game of the year?
It doesn't
like tinfoil hat.
Bad. I need people to understand when I'm saying it doesn't look bad. I'm just saying it does not have
you want it to have that
difference.
Maybe you're going to see it as soon as it launches.
And
then you're going to be like,
I will give it that.
Crap, game of the year.
I will give it that. Yes. It won't be game of the year. I know that. You can see the look. We've been following games long enough. We can look at a trailer and decipher quite a few things.
Yeah.
We can listen to the developers and catch those keywords and decipher what they actually mean. We know. Yeah,
Elden Ring, we knew from the trailer.
Oh yeah.
We knew from the trailer.
I don't even like Soulsborne. But I think I want to play this. But I don't think Redfall will be bad. I just don't think it's an exceptional difference. I feel like it's a wasted moment for Arcane. I always like when developers, I support developers who go out and do different things.
Sure.
Rocksteady with Suicide Squad, for example, instead of sticking with Batman. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But don't lose your identity in the process. And the only thing Arcane I'm seeing out of Redfall is the stylization and the look. The look of it. Maybe the way the guns shoot. After that, Borderlands could have the abilities that this game has. Destiny could have the abilities this game has, right? There's nothing that goes, only Arcane could come up with something like that, right? Deathloop feels very Arcane. Other developers could do that, but not like Arcane. This feels like anybody can do this. And that's what I'm disappointed in when I talk about Redfall. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I think that was the best way I said it.
You know the backlog. You know Arcane's history. You've played those games. You understand what they're like. The Ratatouille strawberry scene.
I wouldn't say I'm like that intimate with Arcane.
More than I am.
Okay. But, you know, I'm probably going to play it. Forza, I'm really excited about.
I just think Forza looks beautiful. Forza looks beautiful.
That's all it needs besides the physics. I mean, it's a sim, so it needs to look beautiful, and it does. I'm ready to play it. I wish they had a date on it, so I at least could put it on my calendar and get ready for it. Hi-Fi Rush, I'm interested in that. That looks interesting. The whole thing in a beat, all. So fun story actually. In high school, I was notorious for accidentally doing things on rhythm. So I was a drummer for a very long time. Pretty dang good at it. But what I was known for was my timekeeping. I was very good at staying in the pocket. I was pretty on cue with that. Wasn't the best like fills and stuff, but I could hold the pocket real good. And every once in a while, I'd just do stuff. And, you got that rhythm in the back of your head from after, rehearsing a song or playing a song or something. And I just do something right in rhythm with it. Wasn't even thinking about it.
Perfect.
So I had this cymbal cleaner and it was called Groove Juice. And so my friends started calling me Groove Juice.
Stop.
This game right here is my Groove Juice. Okay. You do everything in rhythm. You attack in rhythm. You dodge in rhythm. Everything is in rhythm. I feel like this is my spirit game right here. I'm looking forward to playing it.
I've got it downloaded because they had it there right after the showcase.
I mean, and I'm sure for you, it was like, oh, this just looks interesting. Let me download it.
Oh yeah, well, I was a drummer as well, so I completely yeah. I was drumline, all that kind of stuff. So it was one of those things where anything with a beat, I'm automatically on board. So
same.
It's it was an easy sell for me.
And then Minecraft Legends. I want it. I want to play it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's Minecraft.
It's an interesting experience.
Very, very thoughtful use of the Minecraft universe. I appreciate it. All right. Let me talk about video games.
Oh no.
Like actual video games. So I was expecting David and Noah to be on this podcast.
And you got me instead.
No. You were going to be on it too. You were going to be with us. So I was hoping they would be here too, because I would love to hear the reactions to be talking about Forspoken.
Oh no. I've never seen a game so divisive from the get-go. Like, you either love this game or hate this game.
I don't know why it's divisive. Under no circumstance should anyone, including our wonderful, illustrious David Flynn, who gave it a 90 out of 100. No, I don't know how you come to that conclusion.
I liked Mass Effect Andromeda. Like, sometimes you
Mass Effect Andromeda is not Forspoken.
Oh no, I've not played it, so I don't know. I've been seeing so much, and it's making me so sad.
I'm gonna be fair to it, though. I'm going to be fair to it.
Let's go.
In my fairness, though, there's some pretty intense criticism. Okay, so number one, I called it on the watch list. Okay, if you watched last week's The Watch List on YouTube, Gaming Trend videos. Okay, I put it on the watch list because it's a new IP. It seems like the action and all that was very interesting, unique. I wasn't sure about the story. Okay. When I put things on the watch list, it's because I think you should play it. Okay. And in my opinion, I had a lot of caveats with Forspoken, but I thought we should give this game a chance because it could have things that are very good.
Which at the least, like at the minimum, at least you're supporting a new IP.
That's what I'm saying.
Like that's
That's what I'm saying.
bare minimum.
We
You should at
want
least
that.
try it. We want new
We want
IPs.
these.
We don't want the same thing over and over again. So
Absolutely.
like continue.
That's exactly my thinking. That was exactly my thinking. Because there was a lot of caveats as I was talking about it. Okay. And I said, if you were expecting Forspoken to be a AAA game, you were expecting too much. I called it a AA game. Okay.
Wow.
From everything that I saw of it, I was like, my analysis of this is that this is not a AAA game. It looks like one, but it will act like a AA game.
Oh.
And I was correct from top to bottom. I nailed it. It is a AA game. I just didn't expect it to be as bad as it is, though. The only reason why I'm still playing it is that I'm wondering if it gets better. That's it. Otherwise, I would have stopped playing a long time ago. I'm not reviewing this. Okay. I don't have to play this.
You're being Stockholm syndromed into continuing Forspoken, hoping that it gets better by the end.
Very, very much so. So you know how certain Japanese games, Pokemon Arceus, for example. Did you play that?
I did.
You know, like the first hour and a half, almost like a glorified tutorial. And you're just waiting for the moment to break out and be able to free roam.
Do anything by yourself without Navi popping up.
Pokemon Arceus starts like that for
2 hours.
Yes, 2 hours. So you're waiting for that moment. That's what Forspoken feels like right now. I'm within the first 2 hours. The first hour I spent trying to optimize the thing. We'll get into that later.
Oh, no.
But right now, it's so handholdy. I haven't gotten to the point where I could just break out and do stuff. But it enunciates all the flaws of this thing. And it's one of those where it's like you see it early and it's like it can't get any better. You know, like this is the identity of the game. Like what you're seeing is what this game does. The storytelling is awful. Oh my gosh. Like I'm not even great at analyzing stories, and this is just bad. I'm talking about contrived scenarios to try to create drama. For example, this isn't a spoiler. They say it at the beginning. Frey's apartment burns down because she gets involved with this gang and they wanted her to do something. She didn't do it. And so she escaped from them. They find her, burn her apartment. When her apartment is burning, she's asleep. She wakes up and has flames all around her. Okay. Already interesting. Okay. Not even like coughing like heavily, just a little, and then gets up. She needs to find her cat. Okay. Understandable.
I would also go after my cat.
Next to her mattress is the bag of money that she needs to get out of the state or wherever she wants to go, because she saved up this money for a very long time. And this is her ticket out of the situation that she's in. She needs that bag. And so when she gets up,
get the bag?
She says, I need to find the cat. I forgot the name of the cat, but she needs to find the cat. She gets up, walks past the bag looking for the cat. I'm like, why would you not grab the bag while you look for your cat that you could carry in the other arm? That sort of stuff is stupid. They can, within the first 2.5 hours, there are several of those kind of situations where you have to suspend your disbelief so much in order for this to make sense. It's bad storytelling.
Yikes.
Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to get into the other one. I'm just going to move on. Really awkward technical design. It's usually difficult. If you're doing it right, it's difficult to hide some of the technical things that go on in the game.
Sure.
Loading screens, things like that.
Sure.
In various cutscenes here, I need to start playing this gameplay so you just start seeing this stuff. Oh, is it going to show up? Oh, okay, there it is. In various scenes, there's one where she's talking to a council of elders, basically. Okay. And in this, conversation, there are several moments where the screen fades to black and then simply stays in the same scene when it comes back in with a new person talking. As if the idea of like cutting the camera angle is too much for the programming to handle. It you have to, I think you have to see it to understand it. I don't know.
Now let me ask, is that do the consoles have the same problem that the PC does with that?
I would imagine so. This looks like a situation that this is across the board. This isn't like what's the word I'm looking for? Performance issues. It doesn't look like a performance issue. It looks like, I don't know if I can find it. Hold up. Because it's so awful. No, it's not in this video that I put in. But with that said, yeah, so you're like talking, and literally within the same scene, somebody else starts talking, and then they want to focus on that new person who's talking. So it fades to black, and then it comes back in, and now the camera is closer to the person who's talking.
That would drive me insane.
It's ridiculous. I'm like, why can't you just cut? Like, just do a hard cut to the person. I don't understand this. So it's one of those things. I'm like, there has to be a technical reason why they're doing this. I don't know what it is, though. It doesn't make any sense. So there's that. All right, let's talk about optimization now. It's not optimized on PC. I'm sure it plays wonderfully on PlayStation 5, but this plays worse than Watch Dogs Legion, and that one was pretty bad as far as optimization is concerned. Okay, here are the recommended specs for this game, okay? I don't know how much of a computer person you are, so I don't know how much sense this will make, but Windows 10 64-bit, okay, pretty standard. I have a 64-bit system. Okay, Windows 10. Intel Core i7 8700K, 3.7 gigahertz. I have...
Already, I can't play that.
Okay, well, yeah. This would destroy your computer and give you a reason to buy a new one. Mine is an i7 9800X at 3.8, 8 cores. All right, I'm good.
You're good.
24 gig RAM. I have 32. I'm good.
You're good.
GPU, it recommends an RTX for recommended 37 at 8 gigs. All right, I don't have that. I have a 2070 at 8 gigs.
That's why those cutscenes did that.
I don't think that's a performance. I think that's built in the game. Okay, but the minimum requirements say a GeForce GTX, not RTX, GTX 1060 with 6 gigs of RAM.
Which you have more than.
I have more of that. I have a RTX 2070. 150 gigs of available space. It's on it. I have plenty of that. I got a Samsung Evo 870, 1 terabyte, brand spanking new, hardly filled SSD. More than fine.
Good.
I cannot run this game at 60 frames per second at 1080. I have to put everything at low for it to kind of run at 60 frames per second. I mean, you can see the footage right here. This is my raw footage. It is jittery.
I was wondering because I saw David's footage. I watched all of David's video when he posted it, and it did not look this bad.
No, it did not.
This is like, I thought that it was like my internet connection was stuttering it, and I was like, well, that would mean that Anthony would also be stuttering. Like this is the recording you did.
Yep,
stuttering.
It's so on like, low settings. This is the default low settings. At 60 frames per second.
All the tutorials. You've had like 17 tutorials. Just in like just the like 30 seconds that we've watched. You've had, this is a bear. It's gonna attack you. It's like, really? This bear that's already jumping at me is going to attack me? Oh.
So one thing I do appreciate, they drip feed you different things that you can do, so it doesn't overwhelm you. Because there are some games that just throw everything at you. It's like, you can do this and this and this and this and this. All right, go play. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I also don't have a problem with this either. It's just over time, it feels more obnoxious because there are a little bit of systems. I feel like they could have combined a couple of the tutorials together, but that's how that's how fairly complicated the system can be. Once you get used to it, it's all right. But yes, so
That bear
performance
doesn't look
wise,
good.
this is it's not great. People who have much better systems than I do are having trouble running this at 60 frames per second, even at 1080. So yeah,
Do you
this is
think
just
this is like a Batman Arkham Knight situation where like the PC version was just not built correctly compared to the console version? Because the main complaints that I have seen are coming from PC players. There are not nearly as many complaints coming from the console players.
I
I
absolutely think
wonder
that.
I wonder if that's just the situation where it's just like it's just not it wasn't ready to be on PC yet.
And you wonder why they didn't give out PC codes.
Yeah,
This is why.
this is
The
why.
demo came out the day it came out. This
Yeah.
is why. So
It would
terrible
also make
performance.
reason why David's, review is so positive is because probably if this game, other than the story thing that you mentioned at the beginning, it seems like the game, from what I saw of his footage, looks good and plays well. It's just this is not the same game. Like this does not like the choppiness of what you're showing me here is just underwhelming to say the least.
It's abysmal.
Like the bear doesn't look good.
No. Well, again, I'm running it on low in order for it to perform decent.
It's still what you're having to do to run the game when you have the specs that are recommended. Like it shouldn't look this way.
Besides the GPU, but even stuff like, why is the why is the recommended 30 series already? Like, what are we doing? That's ridiculous.
The game
All
was
right.
supposed to come out in 2024.
I get, yeah, sure. And I'm supposed to have that spent, $500 on a new GPU already. Yeah,
you
of
can do
course.
that, right?
Yeah, sure. So the last thing I'll say about Forspoken is I I needed to bring this up about Microsoft too, but I'll start with Forspoken and I'll go back to Microsoft. But there is no reason for Frey to be black. Like, as a black person, this is pitiful. Like, this is not good representation. She did not, it's not accurate or it's not thoughtful. If you're going to do actual representation, it needs to be accurate and it needs to be thoughtful. This is not. She is a girl in a world. She could have been any girl. Okay. Her scripting is awful. It is, she sounds like every other white character in every other video game like this. There is nothing unique about Frey herself, which is disappointing because I'm like, yeah, cool, a black character. Appreciate that. Nope. It's basically an avatar with, yeah. So, and I'm not saying I like stereotypes. Okay. I get it. It's a fine line when you start talking about representation, and because you don't want to go into stereotypes, right? I don't want that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that.
No.
So this, though, doesn't do anything. She's just there. You got to be able to find that line. And Luminous didn't even try in this. It is literally, what do we do? Well, we could have a black girl. Okay. She's from New York. No kind of New York accent.
They didn't go with a New York accent of any sort?
No, she's just a girl who talks. And mind you, the voice actor, I forget her name, she does a fine job voice acting the character, right? All the voice acting is fairly decent. It's not bad.
That's good to know.
It's just there's no direction to it. She's a black character who grows up on the streets, is in jail, in and out of jail. Yeah, heard that one before. That's great. So you want to talk about stereotypes? Boom, they hit that one on the nail. So there's that. Again, I mentioned the scripting. Just bad dialogue. It's bad dialogue. terrible direction. It's not the voice actor's fault. It's none of the voice actor's fault. It's terrible direction.
Another
She cusses
tutorial.
more than Marcus Phoenix. Okay.
No.
Yes. What's
Stop. I will say that one slight positive from all this, the vocalist that they got to sing for the composition is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I interviewed the guy for, you can see that video on Gaming Trend as well. Gary, he told me about it, and she sounds phenomenal.
She does.
I'm very concerned as to why they didn't kind of like put that into the character as well. But I guess choices are made, and that's the choice that they went with, and here we are.
Choices are made, and they're not good ones. They're not good ones.
Oh boy.
I completely agree with David Flynn, the writer of the review, about the music. Super generic. There's nothing combining the culture that she should come from.
Which is so interesting, because like listening to it without playing the game, I really liked the music.
Well,
it was just like when
the music is fine.
When you're playing it with the game, I guess it's like it's all underwhelming.
Yeah. Like the music itself isn't bad. It just has no character with Forspoken.
Sure.
So David Flynn brings up the title music, where it's got a little beat to it, with a mix of this typical fantasy music you have. I like it. I like the title music. There's nothing else like that in the game, which is odd. It should.
Given
and that's what I'm saying. This game really just does not have much of an identity, which is really disappointing. So, yeah, like
I wish I could say something positive, but like
there's nothing to say.
I don't.
Positive.
Everything that
it's
I'm
awful
seeing
representation. Yeah, this wasn't for the culture. This wasn't for nobody.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So
sorry, Forspoken. Hopefully, Forspoken 2 is better.
I'm going to keep playing it.
Yeah, because you have
the gameplay. It's not responsive, and I don't know if it's because of the performance is messing with my ability to do things, but you have to left click in to sprint, left click and B to do your super sprint, which also allows you to automatically dodge stuff. Not very responsive. I do think some of it was I was mistiming something, so I don't want to judge it too hard.
Yeah. Might have been user error, but also
yes, but also I don't feel it's as responsive as I would want it to be.
Because you're essentially free running, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that needs to be responsive. Otherwise, you get Altair flying sideways when you're trying to go up.
Exactly. All right. Last thing I wanted to mention about that Microsoft conference. We are aware Microsoft has been trying to, be more inclusive. Am I correct? Am I correct in this assumption?
I would say that you were correct in that assumption, yes.
Okay. I don't normally look for these things. But it just popped like red paint on a pure white wall. There were 0 black people in the Microsoft Bethesda Direct. 0. They did that whole presentation where they like walked through the developer studios and like the camera angles and different people working on the game and playing the game and testing the game and talking and doing all of that stuff. Not one. There was probably like 6 Asians, and one of them was Tango Gameworks. And then everybody else was white. And to me, like I wasn't going into the conference looking for it. Like I was just going in, I was trying to watch the games, and I was like, man, this intro, where are all the black people? I've seen press conferences with black people in it for Microsoft. Like, what is going on here? And to me, it felt like, so my wife likes to tell me I need to do things sometimes and I need to do them. And so I'm like, I'm gung ho about it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I do it for like 3 weeks and then I get lost in the stuff that I typically do.
Sure.
And then she's like, hey, like, what you doing? You gotta do this thing. That's what this felt like. Microsoft is in a position now where they're like, oh, we got to do this thing. And they just forgot. They just forgot about this
Quite
inclusive
important
direction.
concept that they were trying to go for.
Yeah. It's like just gone. Just completely
Oh
gone.
boy.
And I'm like, okay, like I get it, but y'all gotta be no. I'm not gonna say do better because y'all just gotta stand by your word. This is what you said you was gonna do. Did I actually expect them to do it? No. Because I've seen these companies say this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But it was so blatant. I just couldn't help but see it. And it matters to me.
Yeah.
I just don't go looking for it all the time.
Sure.
Like I didn't go into it looking how many black people are they gonna show. They just didn't show any, and it was like, oh my god, yo, y'all messed up on that one. All right,
Yeah.
enough of that. Let's talk about something a little more positive.
Let's do that.
Yeah, you played Fire Emblem Engage.
Playing.
You were playing.
I'm still working on it.
Still working on it.
They gave it to us. They gave it to us the day of launch. So you know how these things can get. From what I'm reading, there are 26 chapters. I'm currently on chapter 16. So I'll say this. I started my Fire Emblem journey with 3 houses. I had never played a singular Fire Emblem game. The only Fire Emblem that I knew were Marth, Roy, Ike from Super Smash Brothers.
From Smash. Okay, so you're one of those people, and that's fine.
I was one of those people, and I am very aware. After that, I played Fates. I played the first 2 game of Fates, so Awakening and Rebirth. Awakening and whichever one the bad storyline is. Yeah. And then I went back and I played Ike's storyline as much as I possibly could before getting agitated and going back to 3 houses. So I knew going in that based on the trailers, based on the goal that they were trying to do, that this was going to be let's try to combine the fan base of 3 houses with the fan base of the originals and try to put it all together.
Okay.
I then, in preparation, listened to a 15-hour Fire Emblem retrospective talking about every game since the first time all the way until 3 houses. What is the history of Fire Emblem? So that I could go in knowing who these characters are so that I could see why they're important. The coolest part of this game is indeed what they went for, which is these freaking emblem rings. So you get as you go along, you get these things called emblem rings, and inside of these emblem rings is one of the ancient heroes. You start off with Marth, who I thought was a great person to start off with. Began the series, was the first one in Smash Brothers. No one knew anything about him in America unless you knew Fire Emblem. I really like the characters, which was something I was really excited about with having played 3 houses for over 300 hours. The characters were what drew me in. It was the sweetheart characters, the more like rough and tumble that you have to kind of break down to be able to love. You very early get some characters that you can extremely like latch onto, right? The game itself is much more linear than 3 houses. There are no, as of right now, I'm only on chapter 17 now. There are no big choices. There's no, are you going to choose Edelgard? Are you going to choose the church? Which house are you going to teach? Which kids are you going to recruit? There's none of that. You recruit everybody that you meet. You get all the places that you go. You do all the things you're going to do. It's a very linear storyline. I don't think that's a bad thing, especially given that for Three Houses people that started their Fire Emblem journey with Three Houses, that's not the norm. Like, I played Fates. I know how straightforward the storylines generally were. I think that the interesting thing with Engage is because you have the emblem rings and you're meeting all of these ancient heroes, it's going to pique the interest of the newer fans to either go back and play the older games, or for them to do what I believe they're going to do, and they're going to do remakes using the newer engine. Because as of right now, if you told me that they were going to remake Fire Emblem 1, which was, I think, Fire Emblem technically 4 in America, it was like the whole labeling system was wrong.
It was 7 in Japan. The first one they released here on the Game Boy Advance was 7.
Yeah, there you go. So I feel like they could very easily start transferring some of the older ones and remaking them, have like one of their like offshoot branches of publishers working on that stuff with this new engine. And it would sell, because I saw a statistic today where this is the first game since Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that Nintendo released that outsold Scarlet and Violet.
That outsold Pokemon?
Yeah. It was the first thing that has reached the benchmarks since Scarlet and Violet. So the first big game that Nintendo's had since then, which is only 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. I think that something that it took from the Fates games that I played was there are some characters that you really lean on early on that at a certain point they're not useful anymore. You have newer people, you have more powerful people, you've got new classes, you've got the thing that was a little different for me is that because I had 300 hours in Three Houses, I was used to being able to dismount from Cavalier characters and flyers. I was used to kind of like every weapon having the ability to attack every other weapon. This one goes back to that triangle, that classic Fire Emblem triangle, and it makes it a lot harder.
Yep.
So I'm playing because I wanted to try to get through it. I'm first playthrough, casual playthrough. Not looking for the hard difficulty. And even then I'm struggling at some points. So one of the things that they added, they've got the normal storyline. I don't want to spoil it for people. The storyline is what it is. I think it's sweet. But there's a thing where you can battle other players. You can battle NPCs, and you get, XP based on who survives. So there's one where you have to 3 battles back to back. And if someone dies, they're done. Like, you don't get them back for the next round. And I tried it for the first time because you have to wait until chapter 11 to even unlock it. And I played it and I was demolished. I was absolutely demolished. Because not only do you have to think about what classes your characters are, their base class, you have to think about what emblem ring they have and how that changes their class. Because, so for instance, you get Byleth at a certain point. You get emblem Byleth. And emblem Byleth literally takes whatever class you have and gives you the legendary weapon from Three Houses. So that works. So if you have an archer, it's going to be an archer. If you have an axe, it's going to be an axe. If you have a sword, it's going to be a sword. Okay. Meanwhile, if you have a character such as Ike, as soon as you emblem engage, almost like Power Ranger style emblem engage with Ike, you get his hammer. And so you get like this really heavy weapon, and like you can train them for proficiencies with that weapon. So you could give Ike to a healer and let the healer learn axe combat sword combat, and healing combat and make them a
Hmm.
different group. It's crazy because you can take anyone and make them anything because you have them emblem rings. They did not provide me with the DLC, but I bought it anyway because one of the first DLC characters you get is Edelgard, Claude, and Dimitri. They come in what they're calling an emblem bracelet because they're not part of the 12 emblem rings. They're like a side shoot. So Tiki and then the three houses characters are both different bracelets. You can actually gain proficiencies in bow, axe, and lance with just teaming up somebody with Edelgard.
Oh.
And so I gave that to one of my healers, and I was able to make them into a, like, I think it's a mage knight. And so they
Huh.
have the ability to be on horseback, have the ability to use a sword, and have magic.
Nice.
So there's so many different ways to play this game. The replayability for me personally, I feel it's going to be the same level as Three Houses because there are a ton of characters that I'm just not using right now. There's just so many of them. And so it's a matter of like, well, do I need another archer right now? Because I would have to get rid of this person. They've been here since the beginning, and they're still, they're
Yeah,
still
you get
able
those
to.
attachments.
I've gotten attached way too much to some of these characters, but it's a lot of fun, and I was really worried because I was like, how are they going to live up to the hype of Three Houses? Are they going to be able to marry the fandoms together with the original and the new? And I think they did a good job. The story is probably the only thing that like I could knock a little bit, and that's because Alier is like perfect at everything. So
Hmm.
her story is not someone who's struggling to be good at something and like wants to lead people and all that kind of stuff. She's very good at everything. And just like everybody wants to be her friend. Everybody wants to like team up with her. So like you don't have to work to like recruit people like you did in Three Houses or you did in Fates. You really just show up and you get more people.
Hmm.
The cool thing, and this will be like the last thing that I have to say because I don't want to spoil everything, but like you get these like side quests. So you know how they have prologues for like a bunch of different things. One of the like I guess you would call these prologues are with the emblem rings. They tell you their story in a way. So like Lynn tells you, well, I grew up in this. This reminds me of where I grew up. I was trained by this. I was trained by this. And again, it goes back to me thinking this would be very easy for them to go, cool. We're making remakes. All these characters that you're meeting now for the next 10 years, you're gonna have every year we're doing a side story. Every year, like I would eat that up. Because I've fallen in love with the combat system. I've fallen in love with the art style. It's just phenomenal. Like I'm having a great time. I'm not going to give it a review on here, a score on here, but I'm really enjoying my time, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm experiencing every aspect of this game, and there's just so much to it.
What are your concerns about it? Like what are some things that you go, I wish it was this, or anything along that
I
nature.
wish the story was a little less linear. And I know that that's a
Okay.
Fire Emblem thing. I know that that's like it is historically a Fire Emblem thing, that it is a storyline that is very normally very linear. I wish that it was less. This is the main character who's great at everything, and everybody wants to be on her team, and now you're facing this big bad evil and like that kind of thing. And there are some twists and turns that are pretty fun or pretty interesting, but there's never a time where I'm sitting there going, "Oh, I'm worried."
Okay, yeah.
There's always this vibe of like we're always going to pull through. And like even in the moments where it might be a sad situation, it might be like a, oh, that really sucks situation, there's never a we're losing situation.
Yeah.
I'm 16 chapters in, and I feel like we're winning pretty intensely, even though things are supposed to be like not great right now. We're pretty doing well. So I think that's my thing coming from a three houses first went back perspective. I wish that there were just a little more choices that you could make. I like that Byleth was kind of a silent protagonist, other than what you chose to let Byleth say. You don't choose what Alier says. She just says what she wants to say.
Yep.
And I think that's the norm. I think like Corin was like that, and I think Ike was like that as well. So I think it's just for new players, you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn a whole lot about a lot of lore that you didn't know, and now you're gonna know it. For the old players, I think from the conversations I've had with some friends that are big Fire Emblem fans, they're enjoying this one a whole lot more because of the level of difficulty. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of different ways to play. If you don't want to deal with any of the talking, you don't have to. You can just go straight through the map and keep playing straight through. You never have to go to the base if you don't want to. I find myself going back after every mission just because I like the relationships and the bonds and
Yeah.
the all that kind of stuff. But you can do that from the map as well. So really, the only reason
Mm.
you're going to Somniel, which is the island, is to boost people, buy weapons. Another thing, weapons don't break anymore. It's amazing.
I'm
The only
trying to
thing
remember if weapons broke in the past.
it
Don't
did break
remember.
in Fates.
I
Um,
think no, I think they I
I think they
mean,
diminished in some way
I
because
don't
I
think
remember having to repair them.
I think it was just you had like your bronze, your steel, and your different uh, metals version. I don't think they broke though.
Regardless, this one doesn't do that. The only things that do, oddly enough, are healing items. So your psychic, your mage, and your heal spells are all with the rods, and they do break. So
Yeah.
after 15, I think it's after 25 for the first one, 15 for the second one, 10 for the third one, they
Yeah,
just
you're
break,
right.
and you have
Yeah.
to buy new ones. And I'm just
Yep.
like,
Okay. Yep. That
I
sounds
I, I just
familiar.
I want a healer that could actually heal, please. Um, but the cool thing that I've really enjoyed about it is the emblem rings giving opportunities to characters who may or may not be able to live on their own merit. Sword people can become sword and something. Cavalier people can be cavalier and something. And it's all because these emblem rings and these emblem bracelets continuously are doing that. And they do have DLC planned for quite a long time. I think they have 5 DLCs planned if you get the season pass. And the first one comes with the Edelgard bracelet and then the Tiki bracelet. And both of them are very helpful.
I believe it.
Very helpful.
Yeah, Lynn is my favorite Fire Emblem character. She is you talk about yes. No, that's the thing. She starts with a sword in
Oh,
Fire
okay.
Emblem. And then I forget what the circumstance is, but she eventually turns into I could use my bow or my sword. So watch out. But and she's a critical hit monster.
She is in this as well.
Good.
Each
um
of them gets super like supers. I don't know what they call them, but they're basically supers where it's like a big attack that they do. So hers is the character engages with her. They get this cool new outfit kind of thing for 3 turns. And for Lynn's, she does this like she pulls back this giant bow and releases 5 arrows at once that all
nice.
zoom at it. It's killer. It is killer.
Nice. But in Fire Emblem 7, we'll just call it that. She is that perfect hero.
Yeah.
She comes from a small town, it's invaded by the kingdom for, I forget the reason. It's been a long time since I played it, but she's the one holding everything down for the people. But what was interesting though, even through seeing that, the harrowing moments, losing your characters, seeing other characters go away out of your control, they even had chapters like A and B. So if you did specific things, you could have an alternate path, very Star Fox 64, kind of thing, where if you did this thing, you could unlock a different direction. And so it didn't bother me that you bring it up, and now I realize I'm like, yeah, I guess Lynn was kind of like that, like very just like, I got this, I'll figure out what to do, everything's under control. But I think I don't mind that because I am still interested in all the story out around Lynn and
I'm
what's happening.
definitely more interested in what's happening around her. The difference between Lynn and Allier is literally a god.
Oh,
Like she's literally
okay.
like you find that out in the first 5 minutes.
Oh,
You find out, you find out in the first 5 minutes. She's literally a god to most of these people. And so
really
like that, I've really fallen in love with the princes and princesses of the other kingdoms around her, because their characters all have sub characters that are interesting alongside them. And I'm sure for like classic players who are going to play in the style where once a character is dead, they're dead for good.
Yeah.
The amount of characters is going to be very helpful to you.
Yeah.
Because I will say, I think I've played 16, 17 chapters now. I've done 6 paralogs, a relay, and then a few like skirmishes to get extra money, because money is hard to come by in this game. I've
It's
lost
always been.
I would have, if it was original, if it was the like classic, they die for real, I probably would have lost 6 characters by now. Just because there are some times that you are overwhelmed. And you are swarmed, and there is nothing but just hanging on for dear life. And that's something I did not experience in Three Houses. There was never a moment where I don't think in any of my playthroughs I lost somebody. And that's, thinking about it, it probably should have been a little harder. But this game, like I'm on the easy mode compared to all 3 of them. Like I'm on the easy mode, and like I'm struggling. And so it's a learning process for me coming from Three Houses. I'm sure for people that are coming from your perspective of like, you've played the other games, it's going to be kind of a breath of fresh air to like, oh, this is what I was expecting from the last game. And now I'm playing it again here, and now it's but with the fancy new look and the fancy new doodads and all that kind of stuff. But it looks beautiful. Like the game looks great. I'm really happy with it so far. It's I feel bad for the people that are playing Forspoken and a bunch of the other games that are out right now, because I'm like, oh, you guys are struggling, aren't you?
Hey, One Piece Odyssey is actually kind of decent, to be fair. I've been playing that also. That was pretty decent.
I don't know anything about One Piece, so
neither do I, but I wanted to try it because it looked interesting. And everybody always tells me, you should get into One Piece. Okay. Maybe this will be the avenue that I get. It looks decent. I got Fire Emblem Engage in my Switch right now, so I am very excited to play it.
It's great. Something that might help you. The way that the classes work in this, and it's very similar to Fates. You have the base class, and then you level it up to 20, or you could just switch them whenever. But like I leveled them up to 20.
Yep.
And then you change them. There's a character you get at the very beginning. And I kept sitting there going, why is it taking him so long to level up? Like everybody else is level up to like 7, and he's still level 1. It's because he starts at an advanced class. And it's because he's an older character. Like he's an experienced fighter.
Fire
so
Emblem
to be fair,
7, there's that character named
oh,
Marcus. And yeah, he was a paladin and a beast. And
and I think this guy, I don't think he's a paladin, but he's a axe wielding cavalier.
ah.
And it's just like I was so confused, and I was
You're
sitting
like,
there going like, I was having to teach Manuela in Three Houses how to do everything. Like she was a teacher, and I was having to make her go into her advanced classes. This one, it's like it comes with that, and those master seals, you better use them wisely because you don't get a lot of them.
all right, I'll keep
There are a
that in
lot of
mind.
characters, and master seals are hard to come by.
Can I tell you a quick story and then we'll end? It's about Marcus and the
Um,
paladin. My first playthrough. I think I'm in. I forget how many chapters there are in Fire Emblem 7, but it was one of the later chapters, and it was a grueling fight. All my characters were low, and getting to the boss, and all my characters are just dealing a little bit of damage. It's one of those bosses that doesn't move; they stay
yeah,
in their throne, and so I was having my archers do
everybody's
work.
around them.
Yeah, just putting in work. Lance throwing all that stuff. Anybody who had long range just doing damage. What doing enough damage though? So it was taking a very long time. And it was one of those levels where if you complete it in a certain amount of time, you get to unlock something else. So I was like, all right, I'm approaching like turn 20 or whatever it was. And I'm like, all right, I just need to finish this guy so I can do it. So I send Marcus in, and he's already beat up from some of the other fights. So I send him in, and I know I have the advantage. I have the advantage. What I did not expect
No.
though was that the armor was as strong as it was. So I had the weapon advantage, but it still wasn't enough.
Ugh.
So he didn't have much left, but it was enough to survive Marcus's attack. And then he swung back,
Ugh.
screen goes black, and I'm like,
You're crying now, and
I remember it. Like it was so sad. And I was like, Marcus.
that's the thing. They do such a great job with these characters, and like there are there are some that I feel bad for not using. And it's just like I guess that's part of the experience is like when you're playing it with the people can die, you're gonna lose some troops along the way. And so they give you a lot of troops, but I can't imagine some of the people like you're talking about Marcus. Like if something happened to Clan or Fram, those are two of the characters you meet at the very
Yeah.
beginning. If something happened to them, I don't know what I would do. I think I would reset my game. I
Well,
would.
so I tried to restart mine. I was like, no, I don't want to lose Marcus.
I
And then,
can't do it.
obviously it just replayed the exact same sequence when I restarted it. And so I had to watch him die twice.
It's
And
even
so
worse at that point.
yeah, so but it felt so like movie like this,
Yeah,
like it felt supposed to happen
it's
almost,
very
that it was like
cinematic.
it was all almost poetic at the same time.
Yeah,
Um but yeah, that's what Fire Emblem can do with you. So when you play on your new playthrough and you do it with the permanent
people can
loss,
die. Yeah,
yeah,
permadeath.
do it with new characters. Like don't use the skins, use new characters because you've already used the other characters after you beat it.
Yeah,
So
I
you
don't
can,
have. I can
yeah,
keep them safe. I can keep them
yeah, yeah,
secure.
yeah. Well, that and it just feel the same. Like if you were to
Yeah,
lose them, because you've already played through it, you already know what's going to happen and all that. Like you've seen the design, you've done. So when you use new characters, you can change your strategies a little bit. Things change. You get to know them a little bit. It's it
it's gonna be
sucks,
great. It's
but
gonna
it's
be
also
great.
great. All
It's gonna
right,
be great.
that'll do it for us. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you watching. Gaming Trend Podcast. Adam, thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Signing off. Deuces.